My name is Mariana Clark, and I am the Senior Wardrobe Manager at UOVO Fashion here in Los Angeles. Basically, I am in charge of overseeing all of the archiving and the cataloging that goes into the pieces. And I have a team of other wardrobe managers, and we take care of the clothing, catalog the clothing, itemize the clothing, all of that.
I'm curious because I know our team has such a high level of expertise, and everyone kind of has a different background and a different path that led them to UOVO. What kind of led you to UOVO Fashion?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think that everybody comes from like little different pockets of fashion. For me specifically, I come from a styling background. I had a degree in this major, or I have a degree in this major called visual communications, which is kind of a broad way of saying styling. So it's like clothing, anywhere from like clothing to window displays, visual merchandising, set design, that kind of thing. It's like kind of like taking something and making it look pretty. So I got into styling because of that. And then I just, they always like to tell us that stylists are responsible for being like the fashion experts um, in terms of like the terminology and the construction of garments and references, that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of like what led me to this job because, we have to be able to break down everything about a piece.
Is there anything about either your studies or just past experience as a stylist that you feel like really comes into play the most?
The knowledge, the terminology, I think it's one of those things that like, what is this kind of sleeve called? What is this neckline? What is this particular lace? Just I'm like always surrounded by clothes. I'm always learning, and that was like a big part of styling. Also, like I said, knowing what to reference, like, oh, this is from this certain collection of this designer, and all of that is really helpful in my day-to-day when I'm itemizing and cataloging the pieces. And the more you see it, the better you get at it, I think.
How does fashion play a role in your life outside of UOVO or your regular workday?
Fashion has always been a massive interest of mine. It's just how I express myself. I like to get dressed every day, which everyone does, but I mean, like, I really like to put together an outfit, and I still really love styling. So whenever I get an opportunity to, do that on the side a little bit, I will. But yeah, I like styling. I love clothes. Yeah, just like the expression of it all. We have some really iconic dresses. I wish I could say more, but dresses that even people that aren't really that into fashion will recognize. So that's really exciting. We also have like a little bit of historical pieces too. Again, I can't say who, but pieces that anybody would recognize that like mean a lot, mean an extra amount to like people that are interested in fashion. And let's see, movies. We have this one client. He's an actor, and I guess it's part of his contract or something, but he gets to keep all of the clothing in every single movie that he's been in, and he gave us all of it. So it was just so fun to like go through all the little quirky pieces, and these are like big movies, so it was like, oh my god, that's from this movie. And having to like I really like love research. I think that's my favorite part of this job. So like really getting into the nitty gritty of like, this was this movie and this was this movie, and doing all the tags for that and cataloging that is it's really fun.
Is there anything else you get to do kind of on a daily basis that you really look forward to, or that's maybe your favorite part about your role?
I think that the research of it all, I love. I feel like I'm always learning here. You think you've seen it all, and then all of a sudden there's like a crazy lace that I've never seen before, and I like really like, whipping out the magnifying glass and whipping out the books and being like, identifying. And yeah, it's always so interesting because there's always something to learn, and I look forward to that I look forward to also getting to use my knowledge always feels really cool. You know, it's like, I mean, I've been at this job for a while, but when I first started, it was kind of like stuff that you don't really get to use that often. Like, again, certain crazy sleeves you don't see every day. You're like, I know what that is. And then that's exciting to feel like you know something.
How long have you been with the company?
About 3 years.
What about when it comes to vintage garments, things that are really delicate? I'm curious, what are maybe some of the types of fabrics and garments that you have to be the most careful with? And what kind of like special kind of practices do we use to deal with really delicate garments?
Yeah, certainly. Well, fur, I think is, I don't know. I think that people that buy fur know this, but maybe not everybody knows that that has to be stored in a very specific temperature and like a very specific, um, like humidity control. There's got to be like a certain amount of humidity and it's got to be like really cold. So we outsource for that. But that is, that's something that's very delicate, obviously, and because it's like very expensive as well. Um, Leather is kind of the same thing. Everything else, I mean, yeah, like obviously there's very delicate fabrics like lace or sometimes when something's like really embellished. Um, but like feathers. Oh, feathers are also good to keep in cold storage, which I think a lot of people don't think about that. They don't really associate that that's technically an animal too, you know? I think it's just all about um, the materials that we use. Like acid-free tissue paper and everything is archival, like every little thing. The hangers, like you don't think about hangers that people use at home aren't usually archival, like for like wooden hangers. A lot of people don't know that those like release gases over time. So they can like actually discolor your clothing. Certain hangers will leave like marks, which I think we all know. But yeah, so it's just about using the proper materials, and everything has to be archival quality. Even like because when we fold, sometimes we have to fold stuff down in an archival box. For example, and like if we're wrapping it in tissue, we can't use tape because that's not archival. So we'll have to use like a special kind of tape or even a special kind of, we can't use like ink, or it has to be a special kind of ink if we're making any sort of little notes. Um, yeah, it's just all about the materials that we have to use. And obviously, in like, if something's heavy, it has to be laid down properly. If just taking like the utmost care of every garment, and it varies from piece to piece. Some are better on a hanger, some are better folded down. It just depends. I think that like tissue is your best friend too, like making sure that everything is properly stuffed in order to keep the structure of the garment is one of the most important things. Like sleeves, you don't want them to like over time get like lose their shape. Anything with structure, if it's like a corset, a bodice, we have to make a bust out of tissue that we use to then put inside the garment in order for it to keep its shape.
What is your favorite project that you've worked on so far?
Yeah, so I really enjoy private collectors that are really focused on a singular brand. So, for example, we have this one client. She has, I think, practically every single like Chanel look of like most of Karl Lagerfeld's years, um, straight off the runway. Like she will buy every single look and like the way that it comes too. So like styled exactly how it was on the runway. So that is always so exciting to see and to get into like the cataloging and the atomizing of it, because Chanel is so detailed, right? Like it's just in the you get like close to these pieces and you start to notice every single, like the buttons have detail, the stitching, sometimes it'll be like a lace trim and you'll start like noticing that it like has the Chanel C's that you can't really see from afar. So I just really love, we have several clients like that. We have one that has a lot of Comme des Garçons. And so that's also really cool to see because it's all these like avant-garde pieces. Um, so yeah, I really like projects where I get to see a lot of the same designer. Um, Besides that, I also really like the costumes from movies. Anything that like requires identifying certain collections or like specific eras or uh, movies, award shows, anything like that. On another completely different note, this doesn't happen very often because we have another team that does this, but every now and then, I have to do like consultations in people's homes. Oh, and that's always so much fun to see like um people's closets. And we one day that really sticks out to me is we went to one of LA's largest homes, and it was a whole estate, and it was really cool to see. We had one that was we had this one woman who actually she had just gotten her closet remodeled. Um, and she wanted us to help her style it because she was gonna have a whole photo shoot that was gonna be in a magazine. And so it was, like in the movies with like she had a whole section of just her twillies, like specific storage solutions for little things like that, or like for hats and the drawers with the for the nylons, or for the like all of her accessories. Um, yeah, just that was really fun.
What does a home visit usually entail?
Well, okay, so normally, sometimes, not always, clients will request a consultation, and that requires a wardrobe manager, so either me or someone from my team, to go in. And usually they just have questions about like what is the best thing to store. So they just kind of want to know, like, is this a good thing to store? Is this, and I always kind of try to tell them, like, give us pieces that are either sentimental or have a lot of value to you, or one of a kind pieces that you're not really like reaching for that often, but that you're just never going to get rid of. That's kind of like the best thing to give us. Obviously, you can give us whatever you want, but it's usually just clients needing reassurance of what to give us. Just any questions about that, and then that's the first step. And then the second step is we have a team that goes and picks up the clothing, and we do everything. We will switch the hangers for you if you need. We will put it in proper garment bags, load it into the van, and that's really, it's so simple. Like, clients are always so surprised at how quick we are with that step. But yeah, it's like in and out. We just come, we collect your items whenever you want, and that's it. Sometimes it'll be like really physically draining days, because it's just a lot of stuff, but a lot of clothing, but I still like it. I'm like, I don't care. It's so fun. It's always interesting to be out and about and see that.
Do those weeks look differently when we do have a big event coming up that's like in the area for a lot of high net worth clients that we store for? Leading up to those events and after those events, how do your weeks kind of change or adjust based on those?
Usually, it's not about the amount of products, because if you think about it, it's just one gown that they're wearing. So it's not like we're like super busy, overwhelmed with a bunch of items. However, we do have a lot of activity in, maybe like, because we work with certain stylists of the celebrities or of the artists, and sometimes they like to use us as like temporary storage, but then they need to pull those pieces constantly for fittings and things like that. So the only thing that's like slightly different about that is we have to prioritize those pieces, make sure that we get them in our system just in case, because we never know if the stylists are going to need them right away. Um, and just being prepared of like stuff coming in and out like that. But thankfully, it's never like a large amount of items. If we know that it's going to get pulled, we don't necessarily like fully archive it down just yet. So really, it's just about inspecting the garment, itemizing the garment, and then getting it shot. Um, because we have to have it in our system. Yeah, it depends on the event, it depends on the stylist and on the client, but it's happened. We had, okay, so this isn't necessarily for, well, I guess it is kind of a, it's not an award show, but it's a red carpet thing. I don't know if you've been noticing a trend lately that people are really going all out with like press tour looks. We had this one client that kind of had a big movie recently. We got all of the looks essentially, and it was a lot of back and forth. It's hard to say like a number, but like at least 3 times each piece. And then when it's like constant interviews, like not just one award show, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot. One day we'll see a picture and then we're like, oh, that's coming in next morning, you know what I mean? Or sometimes we'll see it before and then it'll be like, oh, they need it. And then the next day it'll be like, it'll be up. Or like in a music video or something. We've had really iconic looks from a red carpet. We've had like really crazy oversized items that we have to like go get custom boxes made for, and it takes like a whole day to just fold down in a box to properly archive. We've had like odd materials. We've had this dress that was made out of rubber that we had to kind of put in like a silica airtight container to keep it from getting damaged. Like I said, every piece, it depends. But yeah, we've kind of seen it. We've seen a lot. Not an award show, but we have this one designer that is like known for using unconventional materials. So we got a lot of garments from this designer, and not just unconventional materials, but also like massive pieces, really structural pieces. We have this one garment I think it has like a 6-foot circumference. It's like the size of almost of like a room. Or not a room, you know, it's huge, and it's very delicate because it's all boned and it's all made of lace. And it's like a giant ball, essentially. So that was a challenge.
What does, a day in the life in your role look like?
It is sort of different every day. It's very varied, which I really enjoy, but the bulk of it is the itemizations. So, for example, the clothing that comes in, we physically organize it on the rack by category, type of fabric. I don't know, it sort of depends. And then kind of get it uploaded onto the system. And then once we're in the database, it is my job and our team's job to go into each garment and start telling the client everything there is to know about the piece, writing it down. So like I said, the type of sleeve, the type of neckline, the type of fabric, the color, the structure, the style, whatever. So it's just kind of like really getting into each piece and then doing a full inspection of any recommendations we may have for either repairs or dry cleaning or cold storage if it's fur. So yeah, that's kind of the bulk of my day, just really getting into these individual pieces and putting them on the database.